There's a clay pot that waters your garden automatically for months without electricity, without timers, without you ever touching a hose. You bury it once and it delivers the perfect amount of water directly to plant roots exactly when they need it. This isn't some modern invention. It's ancient technology that allowed civilizations to grow abundant crops in the middle of deserts using nothing but clay and physics. The technique is called Oya irrigation, and it's been feeding people for over 4,000 years. One buried clay pot can water a 20-foot circle of plants all season long. The system is so efficient, it uses 90% less water than conventional irrigation, while producing bigger, healthier crops. Yet today, you won't find Oyas in any garden center or irrigation catalog. Why? Because there's no profit in selling you clay pots that work forever. Modern irrigation companies need you buying sprinklers, timers, drip systems, and replacement parts every season. A $5 clay pot that waters your garden automatically for decades threatens billion-dollar industries built on making irrigation complicated and expensive. Welcome to where we uncover the solutions they buried because they worked too well. If this is your first time here, subscribe and hit the bell, because what I'm about to show you could eliminate your water bill and revolutionize your garden using nothing but ancient physics. This is knowledge that sustained empires in the desert, then vanished because it made people too water independent. The science behind Ola irrigation is beautifully simple. Unglazed clay is porous, allowing water to seep through slowly. When you bury a clay pot filled with water next to plants, the water gradually seeps through the clay walls directly into the surrounding soil. Plant roots grow toward the moisture source, creating a perfect partnership between pot and plant. But here's the genius part. The clay only releases water when the surrounding soil is dry. When soil moisture is adequate, the clay pores close and water flow stops automatically. It's a self-regulating system that delivers exactly the right amount of water, exactly when plants need it, without any human intervention or electronic controls. This creates the perfect growing environment. Roots receive constant, gentle moisture without the stress of wet-dry cycles that damage plants. Soil stays consistently moist but never waterlogged. Plants grow faster, stronger, and more productive because they never experience water stress. It's precision irrigation that works better than any modern system. Ancient civilizations understood this technology and used it to transform deserts into gardens. Archaeological evidence shows Ola irrigation systems throughout the ancient world, from the Middle East to Central America to North Africa. These weren't primitive farming techniques. They were sophisticated water management systems that allowed agriculture to flourish in impossible conditions. The Nabateans used Ola irrigation to grow crops in the Jordanian desert, creating an agricultural empire in one of the world's most arid regions. Their buried pot systems were so efficient, they could grow wheat, barley, and vegetables using minimal water in areas that receive less than 4 inches of rain annually. The ruins of their irrigation system still exist today, testament to technology that worked for over 1,000 years. Ancient Persian farmers developed elaborate Ola networks that irrigated entire agricultural regions using underground clay pot systems. These installations could water hundreds of acres using a fraction of the water required by surface irrigation. Persian agriculture was so productive it supported one of history's largest empires in a predominantly desert environment. Native American cultures throughout the Southwest used Ola irrigation to grow corn, beans, and squash in desert conditions. Pueblo farmers buried clay pots in carefully planned patterns that created oasis-like growing zones in the middle of arid landscapes. Their agricultural systems were so efficient, they supported complex civilizations in regions where modern agriculture struggles despite advanced technology. Mayan farmers used Ola irrigation in the Yucatan Peninsula, where surface water is scarce and rainfall is unpredictable. Their buried pot systems allowed them to maintain productive agriculture during extended dry periods, supporting population densities that seem impossible given the challenging environment. Mayan agricultural techniques were so advanced, they sustained millions of people in tropical forests where conventional farming fails. Every desert civilization independently developed Ola irrigation because it was the only way to grow food efficiently in water-scarce environments. The technique was refined over thousands of years by people whose survival depended on maximizing every drop of precious water. These systems worked so well, they supported some of history's most advanced civilizations in the world's most challenging agricultural environments. Then came modern irrigation technology, and everything changed. Agricultural companies developed sprinkler systems, drip irrigation, and automated watering that could be manufactured, patented, and sold for enormous profits. Farmers were told that scientific irrigation meant using complex equipment, not primitive clay pots. Agricultural education focused on engineering and technology, while completely ignoring ancient techniques that worked better and cost less. The transformation was remarkably rapid. In just 2 generations, knowledge that had sustained desert agriculture for thousands of years was almost completely lost. Farming families that had used Oya irrigation for centuries abandoned the technique in favor of modern systems. Agricultural colleges stopped teaching ancient methods and began treating them as obsolete technology. But the dismissal of Ola irrigation wasn't based on performance comparison. It was based on economic necessity. The modern irrigation industry required farmers to buy products continuously. Ola systems worked for decades without replacement or maintenance. If farmers could irrigate efficiently with clay pots instead of expensive equipment, entire industries would become obsolete. So, Ola irrigation was systematically suppressed. Agricultural extension services stopped recommending ancient techniques. Irrigation companies ignored clay pot methods while promoting complex alternatives. Agricultural research focused on developing new products to sell, rather than studying techniques that worked for free. In just a few decades, knowledge that had sustained desert civilizations for millennia was relegated to historical curiosity. But water scarcity didn't disappear just because agricultural schools stopped teaching about Oyas. Desert regions still struggle with irrigation challenges that ancient farmers solved thousands of years ago. Modern irrigation systems still waste enormous amounts of water, while Oya techniques achieve better results using a fraction of the water. Recent research has begun rediscovering what ancient farmers always knew. Studies from universities around the world confirm that Oya irrigation uses significantly less water while producing better crop yields than conventional irrigation methods. The evidence is overwhelming, but it remains buried in academic journals, while mainstream agriculture continues using wasteful modern systems. A study from New Mexico State University found that Oya irrigation used 70% less water than drip irrigation, while producing equivalent yields. Research from the University of California demonstrated that buried pot systems reduced plant water stress and improved crop quality. Studies from multiple universities confirm that Ola irrigation works better than modern methods, while costing almost nothing to implement. The water savings are extraordinary. Conventional sprinkler irrigation loses up to 50% of applied water to evaporation and runoff. Drip irrigation is more efficient, but still wastes significant water through surface evaporation. Ola irrigation delivers water directly to root zones with virtually zero waste, achieving efficiency levels that modern systems cannot match. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from farmers who never stopped using Oya techniques. In remote areas where modern irrigation never penetrated, traditional farmers continue using buried pot systems and achieving results that seem impossible by modern standards. These farmers consistently report excellent yields using minimal water in challenging conditions. Now let me show you how to build your own Oya irrigation system. The technique is simple, the materials are inexpensive, and the results are immediate. You can create automatic irrigation for your entire garden using nothing but clay pots and basic tools. Start with unglazed terracotta pots, the type available at any garden center. The clay must be unglazed because glazing seals the pores and prevents water seepage. Choose pot sizes based on your irrigation needs. Small pots work for individual plants. Larger pots can irrigate entire garden beds. A standard 6-inch pot can water a circle about 4 feet in diameter. You'll also need matching saucers or flat stones to cover the pot openings. The covers prevent evaporation and keep debris from falling into the water reservoir. Some people use flat rocks, others prefer matching terracotta saucers. The key is creating a seal that prevents water loss while allowing easy access for refilling. Dig holes slightly larger than your pots in the areas you want to irrigate. The pot rims should be level with or slightly above the soil surface for easy access. Position pots strategically to create overlapping irrigation zones that cover your entire growing area. Spacing depends on pot size and soil type, but generally ranges from 4 to 8 feet apart. Fill the buried pots with water and cover them with your chosen lids. The water will begin seeping through the clay walls immediately, creating moisture zones that attract plant roots. Initial seepage rates are higher until the clay becomes saturated, then water flow stabilizes at optimal levels for plant growth. Plant your crops around the buried pots, positioning them within the irrigation zones created by water seepage. Root crops, vegetables, herbs, and flowers all thrive with Oya irrigation. The plants will naturally grow their roots toward the moisture source, creating efficient water uptake systems that maximize growth while minimizing water use. Refill the pots when water levels drop, typically every few days to a week depending on pot size, soil type, and plant water needs. The refilling frequency decreases as plants establish and soil moisture stabilizes. During peak growing season, larger pots may need refilling twice weekly. In cooler weather or with established plants, weekly refilling is often sufficient. The beauty of Oya irrigation is its adaptability. You can create systems for individual plants, entire garden beds, or large agricultural areas. The technique scales from windowsill herb gardens to commercial farming operations. The principles remain the same regardless of size. Buried clay pots delivering water directly to root zones with perfect efficiency. For maximum effectiveness, combine multiple pot sizes to create layered irrigation systems. Large pots provide base irrigation for the entire area. Medium pots target specific plant groups, and small pots deliver precise water to individual high-value plants. This creates irrigation zones that match the specific needs of different crops. Advanced Ola systems can include underground connections between pots, creating networks that distribute water across large areas from central filling points. Ancient farmers developed sophisticated Ola networks that irrigated entire agricultural regions using interconnected clay pot systems. These installations demonstrate the scalability of Ola technology for large-scale agriculture. The maintenance is minimal compared to modern irrigation systems. No moving parts to break, no filters to clean, no timers to program, no electricity required. The clay pots work continuously without human intervention, delivering perfect irrigation 24 hours a day. Occasional cleaning and pot replacement every few years is the only maintenance required. The cost comparison is dramatic. A complete Ola irrigation system for a large garden costs less than $50 and lasts for years. Equivalent drip irrigation systems cost hundreds of dollars and require ongoing maintenance and replacement. Sprinkler systems cost thousands and consume massive amounts of water while delivering inferior results. But Oya irrigation provides benefits beyond just water savings. The consistent soil moisture creates ideal growing conditions that produce healthier, more productive plants. Root systems develop more efficiently when they don't experience wet-dry stress cycles. Plants grown with Oya irrigation typically show improved disease resistance, faster growth, and higher yields. The environmental benefits are enormous. Dramatic water conservation, zero energy consumption, no plastic waste from irrigation components, no chemical runoff from overwatering. Oya irrigation works with natural soil biology instead of disrupting it with excessive water applications. It's the most sustainable irrigation method ever developed. Yet agricultural extension services never mention Oya techniques in their irrigation recommendations. Garden centers don't sell Oya systems, despite overwhelming evidence of their effectiveness. Irrigation companies continue promoting complex, expensive systems while ignoring ancient techniques that work better and cost less. This isn't technological oversight. It's economic protection of industries that profit from irrigation complexity. If gardeners knew they could irrigate efficiently with clay pots instead of expensive equipment, entire business models would collapse. The irrigation industry needs people to believe that efficient watering requires purchased products, not ancient clay pot technology. But the knowledge is spreading despite institutional resistance. Individual gardeners and farmers are rediscovering Oya irrigation and sharing results that confirm thousands of years of proven performance. Online communities preserve and share Oya construction techniques that agricultural schools refuse to teach. Your garden can become a demonstration of Oya irrigation efficiency. Every plant you water with buried pots, every gallon you save, every irrigation bill you reduce, proves that this technology works despite official dismissal. You're not just watering plants, you're preserving knowledge that sustained civilizations for millennia. The clay pot that waters your garden automatically isn't just saving you time and money, it's challenging the entire framework of modern irrigation that keeps people dependent on expensive, wasteful systems. It's proving that the most efficient technologies are often the oldest ones, refined by thousands of years of practical application. If this opened your eyes to what's possible with ancient irrigation, hit like so more people can discover this buried knowledge. Subscribe, because we're uncovering more traditional techniques that could transform how we grow food. Share this with someone who's tired of high water bills and complicated irrigation systems. The Oya revolution starts with understanding that the best irrigation technology was perfected thousands of years ago, and that the solutions to water scarcity might be buried in clay pots waiting to be rediscovered. Ancient farmers knew this secret and used it to grow food in impossible places. Now you know it too.